I'll juice you up.
Okay, I may not be the most passionate person I know. I've never really had anything that would count as a hobby, nor do I give a shit about sports, but there is a few things I do enjoy, and one of them is movies. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm no critic or hardcore film buff, but I do appreciate a good flick, and the cinema experience has always been somewhat sacred to me. I don't care what genre it is, who directed it, in what country or language it was filmed, or what fucking decade it was made. Just tell me a story, make me give a shit, not about your political message or agenda, but about the characters and what happens to them. And you won't just have my attention, but you'll have all my money too. But there is one genre of film that has always perplexed and frustrated me to no end. And that, my friends, is comedy. From the shelves of Blockbuster Video to Netflix and other streaming services, the comedy genre always has the abundance of choice, but for the most part, they just don't make me laugh. However, there is a small select handful that for whatever reason, I just fucking adore. Movies that I only find funnier as I get older, and appreciate more and more the value of a good laugh. There's one in particular I've chosen to talk about today, a rare gem from the 90s that I never hear anyone mention ever. A forgotten movie starring Tim Robbins and Martin Lawrence. Let me tell you why I fucking love 1997's Nothing to Lose. Oh, and for anybody that gives a shit, this movie was written and directed by no other than Steve Odekirk. Oh shit, sorry, wrong photo. There we are, fixed it, that's better.
I'm a scat man.
The movie begins by introducing us to Nick Beam, played by a much younger and much thinner Tim Robbins. Nick is a successful straight white marketing executive, but don't get confused, he's not the villain of the film. It was just the 90s, things were just very different back then. Nick has a boss slash friend who's kind of a dickhead.
PB.
Okay.
Yeah, him. Anyway, one day, dickhead boss friend forces Nick to work late so he can go and try and bed some broad he's been trying to bang. But by luck, the meeting Nick was set to attend is cancelled, and elated, Nick rushes home to surprise his wife. But unfortunately for my man Nick, when he gets home and hears a noise upstairs, he finds his wife in bed with another man. Nick spots a set of cufflinks on a side table, and the initials on them spell PB. Yeah, the dickhead boss friend. Shattered and heartbroken, Nick aimlessly drives the streets of LA. Eventually, he finds himself in the middle of a neighbourhood that can only be described as dodgy as fuck of low socioeconomic status. Nick stops at a red light to compose his thoughts, and then we get introduced to our second character with one of my favourite lines in any movie ever.
Welcome to hell, bitch. Car, keys, wallet, now. You hear what I'm saying?
This is Terrence, played by Martin Lawrence. Martin Lawrence, what can I say? He is on absolute fire in this movie. This isn't Big Mama's house, this is Martin Lawrence at his peak. When Terrence attempts to carjack Nick, well, after the day he's had, Nick's having none of that shit.
Boy, did you pick the wrong guy on the wrong day.
So instead of handing over his keys and his wallet, he just locks the doors and takes T on a joyride through the streets of LA.
Yo, man, there's a truck. Yo, man, there's a truck right there. Stop!
During this joyride from hell, Nick throws his wallet out the window, pepper sprays T in the face, then plays chicken with a stream of oncoming traffic, then we fade to white. We cut to what we can only assume is hours later, where we find Nick is still driving, Terrence still locked in the car, and they're in the middle of the fucking desert. Everything from this moment on in the film is pure fucking gold. Like, check out Martin Lawrence's performance. Man, it's just too funny.
All right, you win, man, all right? Is that what you want to hear? You win.
The pair eventually stop at a diner and Nick lets T go. However, when T realises he can't hitchhike home and Nick can't pay for fuel because he has no wallet, T offers to pay for the fuel if Nick agrees to take him back. However, it turns out that T actually has no money and instead of paying the gas station attendant, robs him at gunpoint. In a panic, Nick flees, the attendant gives chase and so does the local sheriff, but when the attendant and the sheriff collide, Nick and T manage to get away. Once Nick finally gets a chance to stop and have a little freak out, he berates Terrence on the side of the road and lectures him on the risks versus reward factor when it comes to armed robbery. Basically, Nick says, if you're going to rob someone, do it for a shit ton of money, because you're probably going to go to jail anyway. This is when Nick has an idea. The idea that propels us into the rest of the movie. Realizing that he knows the security codes and has access to the building, Nick decides to head back to LA and rob dickhead boss friend of his personal assets.
Wait a minute. Am I hearing you right? Mr. High and Mighty's gonna rob his boss?
Terrence sees an opportunity and strong arms Nick into letting him come along and cutting him in on 50%.
We're gonna bury this asshole.
Sure you're right.
Nice work, lads. Back at the sheriff's station, a little bit of confusion gets Nick and T confused with two highway shooters wanted in the area for murder. I don't know, I guess maybe like they look a little similar or something?
One black, one white, you tell me.
Okay, so we've established our premise. For the sake of brevity, I'm going to move through the plot beats a little faster now, so just try and keep up. Nick and T get to know each other a little better. It actually turns out that Terrence is quite knowledgeable in computer systems and software. Nick gets a spider on his head.
Sorry, I'm not up on all this jive-talking homeboy lingo. What's that supposed to mean? There's a spider on your head.
It means there's a spider on your motherfucking head, man.
Well, get it off! Get it off!
Yo, that's a big fucking spider, man.
This happens. A gas station attendant spots Terrence's gun on Nick, sticks a gun in his face. Nick panics, turns the tables, takes the guy's gun. Terrence asks a valid question.
Let me get this straight. It's alright for you to rob a place, but it ain't alright for me?
I didn't rob them.
Yeah, I guess that's fair enough.
Well, you got a funny way of not robbing a motherfucker.
Even more valid? Anyway, the two are unlucky enough to get spotted by the highway shooters who are pissed off that they look like two criminals acting on their turf. A chase ensues, our duo get rammed off the road, guns, still having none of this shit. Nick antagonises one of them, the guy sticks a shotgun in his face and is about to pull the trigger. But my boy T pulls this baller move.
Alright, drop the fucking gun. Drop the fucking gun.
Terrence drives the guy's back, but then he shoots Nick.
Get the fuck up. Oh. You shot me.
Okay, can we just go back for a second? I just want to take a moment to appreciate the look on John C. McGinley's face when Nick gets shot. This is one of the greatest things I've ever seen in a movie. This guy goes from utterly terrifying to genuinely concerned for everybody's safety in a heartbeat. It's just gold. An argument breaks out and T responds just like I wish I could when there are people talking in the movie theatre.
Shut the fuck up! Hey, everybody shut the fuck up! Everybody shut the fuck up! Especially you, shut the fuck up!
Maybe one day. Our boys hightail it out of there and head back to T's to get some rest. This is when Nick discovers that T is actually a really loving and devoted father. Nick discovers just how educated T is when he spots his diplomas on the wall, but also sees the slew of job application rejection letters which have led T to have to turn to a life of crime to support his family. I just want to take a moment to say that I really like this part of the movie. I actually like it more the older I get. It adds more depth to T's character, gives him a reason to do what he's doing without making him a bad guy, and teaches us that maybe we shouldn't judge a book by its cover so soon, kind of like Nick did in the movie. Meanwhile, our two highway shooters find Nick's business card and head off to LA to find Nick and T and get some payback. The next day, Nick and Terrence, in order to prepare for their robbery, have to perform a smaller robbery? For supplies, I guess. Terrence terrifies the elderly store clerk, holding him at gunpoint. Nick tries to school Terrence on how to be intimidating and tries it himself, but when he asks the clerk for his honest feedback, well...
Honestly? He was scary.
Really?
This shit here, it's just pure magic. Just look how disappointed Nick is.
You were scary too.
Oh, come on, you're just saying that. You don't have to lie.
Oh, I'm not. I thought you were very scary.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Henry.
Nick decides to give it another shot and does much better this time.
That was much better.
The two head to Nick's place of work, gain access to the building, but they discover that the code's been changed to the security system and Terrence has to use his skills and buys them 5 minutes of time to perform the robbery. Everything seems to be going pretty smoothly, but when Nick spots a photo on the boss's side table of him and his wife, well, he removes his mask to reveal his identity as a final fuck you to his boss. The two leave the building, and it just so happens they're spotted by the two highway shooters who were planning on waiting until Monday morning for Nick to show up to work so they could get him then. The two count their cash and celebrate. Nick has a couple of drinks and decides to call his wife. After Nick confronts her about the affair, well, she corrects him and tells him that it wasn't actually her he saw in bed, but her twin sister and her fiancé, who had arrived a week earlier than planned and had let themselves in. Ah, nice. So it was all just a big misunderstanding. Nick can just go home to his wife, explain himself. Oh, right, the robbery.
Shit.
What's the matter? What?
Shit! Shit! Shit!
This next scene has some of Martin Lawrence's best acting in the whole movie. I'm not going to spoil it for you, just watch the movie and enjoy it. But yeah, Nick returns to the room and finds him in this position.
Don't touch it.
Oh, man.
Nick tells him that if he moves quick enough, he thinks he can catch him before he falls, and well, he pretty much does. Nick's a fucking legend.
I got it! Got it!
Turns out it was our friends the highway shooters who had left T in that position and had stolen the money. Nick and T take off after him to get the money back. With guns drawn and tensions high, the scary white dude asks Nick whether or not he's a killer or just like everyone else. And Nick, well, Nick's...
I'm married.
Nick fills T in on the conversation he had with his wife and explains that if they can put the money back, then they can just go on with their lives as if nothing happened. But although everything would go back to normal for Nick, and that would be great, well...
I can get my life back.
You forget one thing, Nick. I get my life back too.
I've seen this movie 100 times, and every time I hear that line, oh man, my heart just breaks for this guy. The two of them go their separate ways. T goes home to his life and his family, and Nick goes home to his huge house and his wife, who's a smoking hottie. Come Monday, Nick's back at work, feeling pretty confident that he's gotten away with it, when his secretary informs him that they're going to review the security footage anyway because there was some damage. But right before the footage gets to Nick removing his mask and showing his face, the footage is spliced and cut with something totally different.
Well, what is this? What the hell is this?
Turns out that Nick has a guardian angel and he knows exactly who he needs to thank. He surprises T at a family cook-up, bros out with him and offers him a job, and everyone lives happily ever after. And that's it. That's the movie. So why do I love it? It's a funny as hell, underrated, craftily written, superbly casted, buddy comedy caper, packing everything from scenes of tension, hilarity, empathy and sadness, peppered with moments that are not only outright bonkers, but are somehow entirely relevant to the story. The script is great fun, but the real magic comes from the chemistry between Lawrence and Robbins, which has just always surprised me. I've loved this movie since I was a kid. I appreciate it even more as an adult now. It's one of the few comedies I feel genuinely earns the laughs every step of the way. It's a movie, it's a film, it's 1997's Nothing to Lose. If you haven't seen it, what the hell are you doing watching this? But in all seriousness, if you haven't, go watch it. Or if you know someone who hasn't seen it, throw it on for them. They'll thank you for it. I know I would. This has been Movie Film, the series' first upload. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't smash the like button if you don't want, and if you don't want to subscribe, don't do that either. I really couldn't give a shit. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.
I gotta go shower and do some stuff anyway.